Welcome back to Valley Forward Sports Network. We're stepping into round one, back nine coverage of Chapter 2 Air, driven by Innova. This is a disc golf tournament series built around the four elements. So we're traveling to different courses in New Jersey. We're picking an element, earth, water, wind, fire, not in that order. We're finding courses that fit the vibe. James, you know everything there is to know about this course. Talk about the play so far. Talk about what this property really gives way to in terms of disc golf.
Yeah, so Union County doesn't have any other disc golf, so when this course was designed, it was designed with the intention of bringing awareness to the sport and bringing in the local community members. We have loaner discs that are out at our kiosks so that anybody can come and play even if they don't own a disc. And we're constantly finding parkgoers who are just walking around and curious as to what we're doing.
Now you mentioned this is kind of meant to be a very accessible course. We do have a really strong field out here as we take a look at hole 10. Zach, do you think that the field is playing up to standard so far? We've seen 1 down, 2 down, 5 down, and 5 down through that front 9. Talk about scores. You know what it takes to win one of these events. What do you think?
Well, I think at a course like this, if you were to sit down any of the top players of this field, look them in the eyes and say, hey, is there any hole out here that's going to give you trouble, or do you think you can get everything? They're all going to say, I can get everything. And I love that about this course. It is a accessible course, as James said, that's meant for people to pick up the sport for the first time. So it's going to give you a lot of those shots that are, basic shots, little spike hyzers over one tree to miss, little gap shots to hit that are still very open compared to some of the other wooded holes that you see in New Jersey. So it's about who can mentally execute here as well as physically execute.
Lockhart not executing off the tee. He goes OB. He'll be heading to the drop zone. James, can you talk to the average on this hole? I'm very curious. It looks like one of the more challenging ones here with this double mando.
Yeah, this hole actually played at a 4.04, so just right around par. It's a hole that you can really dissect into a couple of putter shots. It's only 420 feet, so throw a putter 200 feet, a putter 200 feet, and then make your putt. Or if you're like Bo Lee, you can get a real big drive out there and get yourself an eagle too.
Yeah, congrats on Bo. Gabe's got a chance for it as well. Didn't miss it, just didn't make it yet. 9 holes left to go in round 1 here.
That's a tough shot. Keeping it up high enough to let it turn but not hit that low ceiling.
Yeah, 2 tough shots for Mike, and he still has the easy up for the par. I see why this isn't averaging that high. It's just a little bit tricky.
I feel like Adrian has gone very high on quite a few of his approach shots where we're seeing a low ceiling. And I like that he's trusting his disc out wide, but I am interested to see if he's come out here and practiced these greens and is thinking, well, this one is skippy, so I definitely want to approach from a high angle as opposed to low and let it, skip out to the edge of circle 1.
Gabe gonna secure the easy birdie 3.
Just a little high. Same thing we've been seeing.
Get a little tan in the sun.
I didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, going back to it, I do appreciate a course like this being played because, the mentality of disc golf really is put on display. Who's checking scores and comparing their round to the rest of the field versus who's just going out here and saying, yeah, first round, just do what I came here to do, and then we'll figure it out later.
Misspoke on Lockhart. He does take the bogey there. Long par bid. Yeah, this is a new style of disc golf for a lot of these guys. I mean, they've played courses like this, but to find a field this dense on a course this attackable, it puts these guys in situations where they miss that 25-footer Usually as an AM, you know, if you're smart, you know you don't need to make all of those. But on this course, like we've said, you kind of really need to be hitting these circle one putts.
Yeah, the putt on hole 11's a particularly difficult one with this basket placement. Classic Dan Doyle, right on a hillside near a little bit of OB. This cart path near the basket actually plays inbounds, but beyond it plays out of bounds. Just safe.
That thing sat down. Great ground play. Nice shot from Gabe. Looking like a hot start to this back nine if he can put that one in.
If you're one of the players who's played this course before our launch pads got installed in their permanent spots, you'll remember this one used to be about 45 or 50 feet longer, a little bit left. One of the improvements we made to the course was making this green accessible off the tee.
And he barely stays in bounds there. Yeah, James, you mentioned the word launch pad. I know that the local community is really helpful around here. Can you tell the story of the launch pad and why these are not tee pads, but they are in fact actually launch pads?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, this used to be a ball golf course, as I mentioned earlier, and our county commissioners have been pretty active in helping us establish the disc golf course. And
wow.
Whew. And that was the term that one of our county commissioners used at our fall flyover tournament. We had an inaugural first throw, kind of like a first pitch in baseball, and the launch pads were the talk of the town.
That was a wonderful bid from Mike, giving it a chance, but also not pushing it too far with a spinny putt. No danger of it going out of bounds.
Lockhart still got a smile on his face, but 2 down is not the type of disc golf he's looking to play here today. There's no doubt he's hungry for that bag. Getting second place last year. KHON getting another stroke, sitting at 6 down.
Gabe finishing up the hole strong.
Evan, follow off Gabe here. Follow off Gabe. Stay tight with him from where you are now. Push in on Gabe.
You know, you gotta. I mean, he's hitting 2 birdies in a row. You gotta stick with him.
Hole 12, the basket's right behind this giant evergreen tree. You can take one of 2 paths, the shorter one with the low ceiling, or get a little bit higher and throw a hyzer around the right side, but whichever path you choose, it's important to get beyond the trees.
Interesting note, I'm seeing a lot of holes on this layout sticking around that like 270 to 310 range. I feel like at this level, that's a distance that players like, Adrian here is throwing a slower disc, really powering up on it, trying to get it to stay straight for as long as possible. Whereas other players, like we just saw Gabe pick a little bit of a faster disc. Can we talk about like how that plays into the course? Like, would you see yourself attacking this course with a slower disc or a faster disc and see, some ground play, or see your disc stick in a little bit better with one versus the other?
Yeah, I think this property has a couple of different types of greens. There's some that are a little faster, some that are a little bit more grabby, so choosing the right disc for the type of green that you're trying to play to is really important. Some you have to get a little bit of ground play and skip to get close to the basket. I'm thinking like hole 14, and then there's others where you really just need to stick it real close, like hole 8.
Oh, just a near miss from Adrian. Cannot remember his caddy's name, but I met him. Super cool dude. I love seeing Adrian out here teaching the youth about disc golf. He always talks, I think it's his brother. He always talks to him about his shot shapes, lets him know kind of what he's thinking. Lockhart just trying to get some of these strokes back on the field. We got a couple guys sitting at 6 down, 7 down right now. He runs that low ceiling putt, comes up short. Gabe with a similar struggle. He wanted more hyzer off of that tee shot. Just doesn't have the open space to get the aggressive bid he wanted.
casual walk-in from Mike. Got to appreciate a step putt that turns a 35-foot putt into a 30-foot putt just from extending your feet. Adrian setting a nice pace at -7. Not sure if he's looking at the scores right now, but 7 down through 12 is a pretty good spot to be at. I'm assuming that's kicking butt at league, and in this field, probably towards the top.
Yeah, you definitely want to have a couple of those strokes early in the round. Hole 13 is one of our longer holes. Another hole where you have to get past some big grabby trees in order to access the green.
Wind's picking up. Adrian again electing to go high.
You mentioned earlier the course being cleaned up over the last couple of years. This whole row of trees on the left used to be full of poison ivy all the way to the ground, and these two big evergreens near the basket were just the itchiest place on earth. So thanks again to Union County Parks Department for coming out here with their chemical warfare.
I love the height of that. Just didn't quite hyzer out at the end.
This is a classic Lockhart shot. He's got these backhand hyzers all day.
I don't know if that clipped the tree or not. I'm assuming not, because we have yet to see a disc touch even a leaf or just like the slightest branch and not get immediately knocked down. These are some of the thickest trees you're going to play through in New Jersey. Not very forgiving.
Solid effort from Gabe there. That looks in his range. Here's Mike from a knee. Tough to commit. Looks like he's got a little bit of a headwind there.
Gabe picking up the par.
I'm loving this just laser putt Lockhart's got. Very Kobe Bryant with just no arc. Just straight to the basket.
It's going to play well in the wind.
Love watching Adrian putt. He's all about feel. Even on these short bids, he wants to make sure everything's feeling right, everything's nice and aligned, so we can just attack the basket. And we've seen some real nice putting from Circle 1 from him all day.
Mike just fixing up the basket for the next guy.
Mike's giving me big, like, rock climber vibes. Zach, I know you're into rock climbing. I wonder if Mike's ever out there bouldering.
I haven't seen him, but the crossover is tremendous.
I actually recently have started rock climbing. We should probably talk about this at a later date, about an hour from now, because I'd love to go with you. I'm sure you're nasty at it like you are at everything else.
Wow. Well, through.
The fact that that got through the tree there is astounding, and will leave Brandon with a much easier approach shot. I've been in that tree before. You're lucky if you can get your leg to the disc if it's in the center.
James, did you have any thoughts on hole 14 that don't pertain to climbing rocks?
There's a sneaky Mando on the left-hand side of this one, but I don't think the players are even messing around with that one. This is the shortest hole in the back 9, so these guys are just trying to get it close, make a putt, and move on to a couple of the difficult holes that are coming up.
Oh, I see Gabe rocking, I believe that's an EMAC Truth from 22 Fire. Gets it into Circle 1. Still playing some really nice disc golf. He looked really disappointed at his last 2 drives after the 2 birdies. There's always that little mental kind of gap between hole 9 and 10 when you're playing disc golf. You really want to come into that back 9 strong. But 4 down, 5 to go. He still has a chance to put together a great round here.
James, talk about the final stretch of this course. What do you think about the last 3 to 4 holes and how they're going to play?
Yeah, so most of this property is pretty flat. It's this old golf course, but the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th hole kind of play up and down the more sloped part of it. So these guys have been throwing a lot of flat hyzers. It's going to be a little bit of a different approach for the next couple holes.
I like that. Change it up a little bit at the end of the round, see who can adapt to it. Brandon just off the mark there. Unfortunately, will be taking a bogey here.
And we will actually be deducting $25 from charity because he was not able to secure the star frame there. We will be taking away $25 from charity.
Hole 15, like I said, plays pretty far uphill. This is one of the longer holes on the course, over 300. We're playing from the blue launch pad. The important thing here is getting your distance right. Too far left, too far right, doesn't really matter too much. What matters is if you get all the way up to basket height.
That one unfortunately does push out of bounds. That OB path sits just above the little mulch hill there.
Guess I spoke too soon about too far left.
Mike possibly overcorrecting seeing that. This is a tricky one. Uphill with a low ceiling.
That one kind of digs in. He didn't like it out of the hand.
This is that two-tone type of fairway here with the grabby grass, but if you hit right next to the basket, it is skippy under there with the pine.
Oh, and Brandon with a park job. That is a wonderful shot.
Way to read that wind.
I've been getting a lot of wind reads today.
Perk of being bottom.
Yeah, Lockhart speaking to his position on the card. Here's KHON for the par save. Weird look. Trying to figure out the angle on this one.
Oh, that hurt.
Shout out to stretching before you putt.
Who's got the, is that the Ridge Roller? Oh, that is Adrian's cart.
Gabe, that was a great putt. Adrian, you look magnificent back there.
Straight lounging.
We'll get to you, alright? Wait, be patient. We'll get to you, man.
Adrian is, what, 5 feet away from the basket and has an awkward stance with that limb. That's a protected basket.
That is Dan
Doyle.
Doyle right there, if you
Like an
haven't
angle?
figured it out yet.
Yeah? Thank you.
All right, big shout out to Innova Disc Golf for sponsoring this event. Absolutely the premier disc golf event. Let's take a look at what events we have coming up next. We've got PDGA Junior World Championships. Valley Forge Sports Network will be providing coverage for MJ18. A couple of our own events mixed in there. Matt Coltrera and I will be going out to work for the Disc Golf Pro Tour from August to October. But when we come back, we will have the Battle of Greystone Woods again on November 4th. I'm not even trying to start the rumor mill, but we might get some get a pro division in there. Guys, don't get too excited yet because it's really uncertain. But
It's all right.
November
if you don't-
4th, what are you going to do if I don't? You're going to quit the Valley Forge Disc Golf League?
No, I'm dropping back to MA1.
There you go. Love that. Hole 16, par 3, 362. James, this used to be hole 1. Is that right? Tell us about it.
On an old version of the layout, Dan Doyle's really well known for getting a really good idea for a property and tweaking it a whole bunch before it's finalized. This one ended up being hole 16, and it is the longest hole on the course for the par 3s. It's also the hardest hole on the course with only 5 birdies on the round.
Really?
72 player field, 5 birdies.
I do like the uphill downhill factor of this hole plus the last hole. I think Brandon just threw the same disc both ways. I appreciate that. You said 5 on the day?
5 on the round. 5 birdies on the round.
That looks like one of them.
This looks like at least 2 of them.
And this looks like something big from John Eckert, our very own. VFDGA number 001. You would not be watching this if it were not for John Eckert. He's a huge reason we play disc golf. Grew up on the cul-de-sac of Valley Forge Drive with him as my next door neighbor. And a big up to Evan Whiteneck for capturing that moment. I mean, come on. That's fantastic.
That's situational awareness right
Yes.
there. Picking up here, but Adrian looking at his birdie attempt. Oof. It's a frustrating miss, but again, dead center into a crosswind. Can't be too upset about that.
Yeah, I want to say that looked like it got lifted up a little bit. Hard to know exactly what went on there, but one of his first Circle 1 misses of the day, I believe it's only his second Circle 1 miss, and the other one was from a knee. That's tough.
And 2 of the 5 on this card.
Lockhart just holding it together. 4 down. I cannot wait to get a check-in of the scores after hole 18. See what the field's looking like out there.
For hole 17, we're on our last chance for an ace. This one, players can kind of get creative. There's space on the left side for a big forehand or lefty shot. You can throw over the top of the trees on the right. My preference, though, is just to go right up the middle and run the basket.
Again, players electing to avoid the trees by going up and over, but with the wind picking up, that becomes a much harder shot. Mike hanging it out wide. Not quite coming back enough. See how the forehand plays here. Through. Adrian taking that up the gut approach that James was talking about and just getting into those trees.
I'd love to know what kind of treasures are beheld on these trains that have been riding past Oak Ridge all day. You think it's a bunch of, you think that's Adam Harris bringing a bunch of temporary disc golf baskets somewhere, James?
I love the idea of a trainload of baskets being delivered.
Yeah, right. Marcionese with this step putt. He hit one earlier.
Ooh.
I got to imagine on his best day, he's just knocking those down left and right.
Well, he comes out of it just already walking at the basket. I think he was ready to walk that one in.
Kobe.
We'll finish up with some pars here and move into hole 18. I'm excited for this one. I love the look of this at the end of your round.
Good stuff. We're going to finish off the round here with a par 4 that is way uphill. 650 feet is an understatement for how far this plays. You're going to need 2 full drives to get anywhere near the green. But again, this walking path is out of bounds on the right. And there is OB on the left, though that doesn't tend to come into play.
We can see Gabe bringing that walking path into play.
I'm kidding.
But but he is able to bite off a lot of distance there. Brandon looking to prove you wrong and try to ace this one.
I hear Lockhart is one of the top guys out of Skylands right now. I believe he's, 950 something rated, but I hear he's an absolute contender. Camp Gaw, Buzzies, Breakwell Steel. I hear he's out there winning doubles, and I'm sure he's got a pretty low tag number. Unfortunately, that one does drift out of bounds for Mike.
Adrian cocking up this shot. It's a lot of hyzer for going uphill. No danger there, but he will have a bit more to do on his second shot than some of the other people on this card.
Going with the big hyzer again.
Oh, shot. Should went mid.
He doesn't like it.
It's going to be a bit of an uphill putt for him. There's
Did he say should have gone mid?
I missed that.
There's no way that was a putter.
No.
Mike coming up just a little bit short as well. We see Gabe try to take advantage of getting the extra distance off the tee. Just drops out of the air.
Zach, you were talking before about how the mentality of your scoring is just as important as the actual stroke count. This is one of those strokes, you're sitting there in between lunch, eating your Jersey Mike's club sub, turkey and ham with bacon, and you're wondering, what is waiting for me in round two? If I'm Adrian KHON, I'm picturing myself driving back down I-95 south to Philadelphia with that air bag in my passenger seat, putting his caddy in the back seat so we can look at the bag on his way home. If I'm Brandon, I'm thinking about that second place last year, wanting to come out and shoot a hot round two. Finishing out with the birdie here is so important for the mentality.
Yeah, especially going into lunch where you're just kind of sitting down and waiting. I feel like anyone who's going into this break kind of picturing the future might be giving themselves a chance to forget about those small details that we talked about earlier in this round that this course really bring into play. Like, you have to think on every single hole about what the wind is going to do to your disc as it, breaks out of the gap and you experience a new angle, or what's going to happen when you hit the skippy part of the green versus the grabby part of the green. If you're not picturing that every single shot, you're going to make those small mistakes again in the second round. So we're going to see who can hold it together and pull through here.
Real solid showing. Great vibes from this card.
I feel like
I love a good chatty
Chris.
card.
Shout out Valley Forge, the best.
Valley Forge.
Absolutely love the energy. Big shout out to Innova Disc Golf, Pound Disc Golf. Just premium quality on both sides of this event. And then smack dab right in the middle, you've got this massive field of 68. We got 4 women out here today. We'll be checking out some of their play later on. Guys, leaderboard after round 1. It is just absolutely so dense. Somebody chime in. What do you guys think?
I think 8s and 7s are solid rounds at this course. I do expect to see potentially a hotter round even in the second round. If the wind stays down, these guys have tried every hole now. I'm expecting to see somebody really pick it up from this leaderboard and pull through.
James, we've got over 10 players within 2 strokes of the lead, going all the way back to the third card. I mean, we saw Lockhart put together a seemingly solid round. Now he's not even in the top 10. You've played in these events before. What are you thinking if you're in this field here?
Yeah, I think you got to take one hole at a time. You can't think about what you've already done. You can't think about what you're going to do later. You have to think about what you're doing then. And it's going to be one of 2 things, driving to the green or making a putt. Got to stay in bounds, got to make your putt.
I absolutely love it. So simple. So well constructed of a statement, just like how well constructed these pound bags are. We're going to be crowning a champion tomorrow here on Valley Forward Sports Network. Click subscribe, like the video, drop a comment down below. We've got tons of content coming this year. And make sure you're subscribed to the PDGA page as well. We're going to be filming PDGA Junior Worlds next week out in Illinois. You'll be seeing us right here on the PDGA YouTube channel. That's a little surreal. Someone needs to talk to the PDGA. I don't know. I think they hired the wrong guys for that.
I think they hired the right guys. I refuse to joke about that. They hired the right guys.
I appreciate that. Guys, we'll see you next week. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you next week, and we'll see you next time as well.